I'm a 29-year-old female, and this happened to me when I was 14. My brother and I went to hang out in the mall with his friends on a weekend. I was the only girl in a boys' group, so I mostly stayed on my phone. I am very introverted as well. I was getting bored and feeling somewhat ignored, so I told my brother if he could drop me home. He told me he'll leave after some time. Since we lived far away from the mall, I had to wait for my brother. But at the same time, I was so angry with him that I cut off from the group and started roaming around on my own. I was checking some stores while casually walking through when I made eye contact with a man. He seemed to be in his late 40s. He quickly walked up to me and asked, "Are you alone here?" As much as I've had creepy guys hitting on me, his eerie tone just added to that experience. I politely said, "No, I'm with my friends," and started to walk away. He started walking with me. "But seems like your friends bailed on you, pretty girl." I groaned and replied, "Yeah, that's why I'm on my own." "Well, people can be jerks, but that shouldn't limit us from having fun." He smiled big while saying this. Now, before you judge me, please keep in mind that I was only 14 and really mad at my brother for ruining my weekend. I asked him if he knew anything fun to do around the mall, and he said there's a newly opened gaming zone. I looked at the food court, far away, where I could see my brother laughing and having a good time with his friends. I whispered, "A-hole," and then agreed to go to the gaming zone with that man. It was my first time in that mall, so when he said we'd need to go to the basement, as that's where the gaming zone is, I believed him. I really wish I hadn't. We got into the elevator with a bunch of other people. I'm sure they thought the man to be my guardian, so no one bothered that a 14-year-old was following a stranger to the mall basement. One by one, everyone got off, and on the ground floor, the elevator was empty. The man pressed the button to the basement, and we came down to the parking lot. The moment I got off the elevator, my heart skipped a beat. Are you sure there's a gaming zone here?" I asked him. He smiled even bigger and said that the place was under construction, but he had the key to the virtual car racing machine. I nodded, not knowing how deep I was drowning in his lies. He started walking into the dimly lit basement, and I began following him, not knowing what I should do. I thought to text my brother, but there was no network in the basement as well. Now the man started saying how I would enjoy the racing game since there'd be no one to disturb me. Soon, his words started to sound alarming, with creepy double meanings hidden in them. As he said, "The car racing machine is so big and I'll enjoy it riding for hours." Yeah, exactly that's what he said. We were almost halfway into the basement, and I was constantly looking back to notice how far the elevator was getting from me. A bubbling feeling that something was very wrong suddenly kicked into my stomach, and I stopped saying, My brother just texted me. Looks like I'll have to come some other time. See you later, mister." I quickly turned around and started walking back to the elevator. I was walking fast, but also couldn't run because I didn't want to give him the idea that I'd panicked. Suddenly, I heard footsteps rushing towards me, and looking back, I saw him running at me full speed. His face was filled with rage and anger as he yelled at me to stop. That's when I made a run for the elevator. I almost bumped into the closed elevator door and started pressing the button like crazy. "Please come down before he gets me." I remember praying this to God. The man was inches away when the elevator door opened, and my brother, with his 3 friends, stood inside. "What the hell are you doing here? Jimmy said he saw you with some man in the elevator. What's going on?" My brother sounded really worried, and I glanced back to point at that creepy dude, but he was nowhere to be found. I'm sure he took off realizing my brother had come to get me. I told my brother about this man, and he took me to the mall security to inform them about this shady old guy. I just hope he's not lurking there, looking for some underage kid to take them to the basement to try his made-up gaming machine.